the caucus meeting for Monday, April 12th, 2021 to order. Barb, would you please take a roll call?
Dudley?
Here.
Donahue?
Here.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich is here.
Davis? Blake?
Here.
Tagliarini?
Muted. Frank, unmute.
Here. Sorry.
Vaughn?
That's okay.
Vaughn is here.
And go back to Ms. Davis. Is Ms. Davis here?
Ms. Davis has called and asked to be excused. If somebody could make a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Blake.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilwoman Shayla Davis from the caucus meeting this evening.
I'll second it.
Thank you. On Mr. Blake's motion to excuse Councilwoman Davis from tonight's caucus meeting, Barb, would you take a vote, please?
Blake?
Yes.
Tagliarini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Davis is excused from tonight's proceedings. I'd like to make a motion to accept the caucus meeting minutes from Monday, March 22nd, 2021. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Davis is excused
Who
from.
was that?
Chuck Donahue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Barb, would you take a roll call?
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Tagliarini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Okay. That passes. Okay, this phone's got to go. Okay, moving on with tonight's agenda. We'll go over the ordinances. We'll go over the ordinances for the ordinances resolutions for tonight. Starting with, for the life of me, I can't find my agenda sheet, and it was right here in front of me, but we'll work through it. Ordinance 32, 2020.
21.
2021. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions on this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do have a question.
Where's yours, Mr. Tagliarini?
On that there, if we approve that ordinance tonight and move on with this case 1845C skid loader, and ordinance number 33 does not pass, we are getting rid of the piece of equipment that we have now without being able to replace it. I think that should be moved to be voted on after ordinance number 33, or go to a third reading, because we could end up with nothing if we sell that off before we approve ordinance number 33.
I will turn the floor over to Service Director Mark Sycon.
Good evening, everyone. We are going to table the ordinance 33, 2021. I spoke with Mike this afternoon. The piece of equipment that we wanted to purchase is not available at this time, so we're exploring other opportunities. Hopefully somebody else will have something similar to what we need.
Just for purposes of the record, we're going to ask that ordinance be withdrawn. Okay. So 33, 2021, the mayor's asking that we withdraw that. Okay.
Sounds good, Tim. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I believe the question was from Mr. Taglerini that we're putting this one loader up for sale, and should we get rid of it right now and put it for sale, or should we ask to have that pulled off this ordinance till we get a new replacement?
Correct.
Councilman Nanavich, Council President, may I answer that question? This is Barb Byro.
Yes, Barbara, you have the floor.
Thank you. I would request that the skid loader be not taken off the disposal.
Okay.
I work quite closely with the service department. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to sell the skid suit, that skid thing, before we have something to replace it. So at the end of the day, I work very closely with the service department. I'm coming to you now, so I don't have to come to you at another time with a piece of legislation to get rid of only one piece of equipment. At this time, the skid, all we're doing is you're giving me the control to make the decision when to put it up to Gov Deals. That's all you're doing.
Okay, so
I'm requesting that it not be removed.
Okay, so even if this does pass tonight, you are the discretion of selling that piece of equipment is up to you.
Is up to me and the service director and the mechanics and his foreman.
I thank you. Frank, does that answer your question?
I guess.
Okay. I have no problem with that, seeing as how we're going to hang on to it just so we don't have to redo this. But I would accept that answer as we're not going to be without a skid loader. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on 32-2021? Okay, we'll move on. Ordinance 33-2021. Does anybody have any questions on this piece, which is going to be tabled tonight before we table it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Riley, I refer
for the record, Council President, it's going to be withdrawn. There's a difference between tabled and withdrawn.
Okay, as it stands on Council Caucus right now, we're withdrawing 30-2021. Thank you, Mr. Riley. I really appreciate that. Okay, moving on to 30-24-21. Any questions on this piece of legislation?
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay. This is for additional money for something was just passed 20 minutes ago.
This is what we were talking about 20 minutes ago.
Yes, and it's asking for additional money.
That's what Dave Kroc was alluding to.
Yes. My question is, why wasn't this known before the project was even put out for bids?
Kroc, I allude to you.
Mr. President, if I could. Okay, thank you. This is really a two-part because it needed to go that way. The Board of Control could approve the construction contract for the additional funds, but Council has to approve the additional inspection costs and design costs that were part of the OHM contract. Just a procedural thing, Mr. Donahue, but the real purpose of the additional costs has to do with, as we spoke about at Board of Control, the additional amount of time the contractor is going to have out on site. Our inspector needs to be out there all the time that the contractor is. So all that additional time that's spent would also be additional cost for the inspection as well. That's the background to that.
So it's an additional $63,000 just so somebody go out and watch them work. Is that the gist of it?
It is that is pretty much the exact part of it. Exactly. The difference is that a good chunk of that is paid by Cleveland Water. They're anticipating that. As I mentioned at Board of Control, up to about $200,000 total for construction and inspection would be covered by the city.
Okay. Thank you. That's a big no.
Any other questions on 34?
I do have one.
Frank, go ahead. You have the floor.
Is this inspector that's going to be on site, is he state approved, licensed, or is it just another employee.
Dave, you got the floor.
Mr. President, can I answer that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, our inspectors that we have on these sites are trained for this kind of work, Frank, or I'm sorry, Mr. Taglerini, and many of them have their nice license, their certifications for this work.
Thank you, Mr. Kroc. There be no other questions on 35. We'll move on. Okay, ordinance 36, 2021. Body cameras, any questions on this from anybody?
What happened to 35?
5.
Yeah, we skipped one, Chairman.
Yeah, we need 35.
Okay. Yes, I have it right here in front of me. Forgot to turn it over. Okay, ordinance 35, 2021. I lost my agenda sheet. So. Any questions on the agenda for the hockey program and the equipment? Mr. Dudley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The question is to Barb. When we look at this here, you know, I'm all for sports and I love sports and everything, especially for our children. And I see where it says donor seats, basically not more than 1,600 and stuff. But my question is, because this is like recreation, would that be coming out the recreation fund and we not charge it to the general fund because it has to do with recreation? I tried to call you today, but the phones was off in the city and I couldn't reach you.
Barbara? Ms. Bureau? Ms. Bureau, are you there? I don't see Barbara anywhere.
Well, no problem, Mr. Chairman. When we get to the floor, and she's going to be there, then I can ask her then. Or if she come back before the meeting, before Caucus is out, I'll ask her.
Okay, that sounds fair enough, Mr. Dudley. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration.
I'm sorry, I got kicked off. I lost connection here.
Okay, Frank Tagarini's back. We got to wait for Miss Barrow to come back, but Mike said she'll wait till she gets to the floor and we'll cover it over there. I thank you. Okay, that was ordinance 35. Ordinance 36, 2021. Any questions on this one here about the body cameras? If none, okay, that's cool. And then we get into resolution 15, 2021. Are there any questions on this appointments of the mayor to the committee?
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead. You have the floor, Chuck.
Does the council get to talk to the people that were selected, or is it just the mayor selects them and we say it's okay?
I believe if you read the chapter 136, the mayor gets to appoint the people. And I've done some extensive interviews. I've spent probably about 5 days interviewing some of these people. And I got to tell you, they're a great bunch. And I think they're going to do some wonders for the city. So yeah, it is basically my appointments. We tried to put the legislation out for you last week so that if you had to, you could contact some of these people and ask them about who they are. But I will tell you, every single one of these offer a neutral and a very, very extensive background to exactly what should be done in the Community Relations Committee, not just in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also in safety, in financial, and just helping to bring the community together. And I'm really excited about it, Chuck.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for you on this too. Yes. They serve at your pleasure just like one of your directors would be then, right?
Pretty much. I actually am going to make a designee. She is not on here because when you do make a designee, it doesn't become something that you have council approve. It's just, I can designate pretty much anybody, but I have to tell you, her name is Marina Bach. And just to give you a little background on her, she comes from a family where they're bilingual. And so they understand, she understands firsthand, you know, what it's like to live in an environment where you have to have two different languages. And, you know, the whole, when you're talking about diversity and you're talking about what I consider to be real people, and that's what I wanted to do. I mean, we could sit here all day long, be legislators and administrators, but you have to have the real people for this community relations committee. I believe you have to have real people that care about the community and care about making it better and bringing people together. And I will tell you, each and every one of these people is just incredible when you hear their ideas and what they would like to see happen for the city of Garfield. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Dudley, go ahead.
I wanted to mention I did have an opportunity to speak to 3 of them, and I mean quite extensively that I had conversations with 3 of them. And what people have to understand too, where we mentioned serve at the mayor's, you know, leisure, when they are needed appointment, they 3 years is there, and we got to remember they can do their job because they cannot be removed for any just cause. You know, if you have directors or whatever, you can say, hey, I want a new director. But people got to understand too, these individuals cannot be removed because nobody like them or dislike them or something. They got 3 years. The only way you can remove them is for just cause. And so I want people to understand that, you know, they're there to do a job. They don't have to be nobody's friend. They just got to look out for the people. And so people want to understand that as well, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. But 3 of them I talked to, and they were very impressive. And I can tell they care a lot about the community. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Dudley.
Mr. Chairman, just to kind of add to what Mr. Dudley is saying there, that's the reason why I felt very strongly about designating a person part of the committee, because you know, you're right. You don't know who can end up being the mayor after this election. And if I already have this particular committee on the ground running, it will do good for the city of Garfield Heights, and we won't have to be going through this again come November. Correct. So, you know, I'm confident, and I think, you know, everybody will, when you get to know some of these folks, I know they were talking about having a meeting once a quarter, which is, man, that is awesome, because we have some commissions that don't meet. So, you know, once a quarter, I think these guys are very driven, and I'm excited about it.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Resolution 16, 2021, appointing mayor by the mayor of Norma Banks to the Planning Commission. Any questions on this? Okay, if there be none, that covers tonight's legislation. And
Mr. President? Mr. President?
Yes, Barbara.
You can hear me now. I couldn't get through earlier. I'm sorry.
Yes, we saw that. Mr. Dudley has a question for you.
Yes, I heard the question. Mr. Dudley, that will be coming out of the Recreation Fund and not the General Fund.
That's great. I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't see it on the paperwork here, so I wanted to make sure it was coming from Recreation, not General. You answered the question.
My apologies.
I appreciate that.
My apologies. I couldn't get through.
Yeah, you got knocked off, and so did Frank Tagliarini. So.
Oh, okay. Is that what happened? All right.
Yeah, it wasn't just you. Okay.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else to talk about tonight at caucus, Chuck, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Tim Riley.
Yes, Tim, the floor recognizes you.
With regards to tomorrow night's special meeting, I was contacted today by an attorney named Kevin Butler on behalf of Shayla Davis, and she is ill. He said he would document it if we wanted him to, but asked if we would consider pushing it back 2 weeks. I told him that I would recommend it to council that we do that. Doesn't really affect anything. And, you know, if somebody's ill, I think we have to take that into consideration. Okay. But it is, you know, it's ultimately up to council. Thank you. I wanted to let everybody know that.
Yes. Thank you very much, Tim. And I would be in agreement with your decision because you are our counsel and you're working with Ms. Davis's attorney, and I appreciate your opinion and I value it very much. I would like to make that recommendation. Do we have to do that on the floor, or can we do that at caucus, Mr. Riley?
You could do it in caucus, but I would recommend that you at least announce it on council floor so everybody knows if you're going to change the date. And okay. I believe it was you, and was it Councilman Vaughn that called the special meeting? Is that correct, Councilman Vaughn?
That is correct, yes.
So you have the ability to, you know, change the meeting if you want, if you called it.
Yes. Okay. I believe the date that 2 weeks from now is April 27th. I don't have a calendar.
We're talking 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow, 27th. Yes. The 27th?
27th.
Okay. If somebody would make a motion, well, I'll make the motion. I will. Tom, yes.
I can't be there on the 27th. I'm sorry. I've got that's when my block watch is coming back. That's the night I got up at St. Monica's. I really can't be changing the schedule now. I was hoping we could do it the week before, maybe on the Thursday night. That way we get it before the next council meeting. That would still give us almost 2 weeks. Is that all right with everybody?
That's better for me on around the 15th, Mr. Chairman. And that way we can go ear by ear, but I would prefer that it do take place before the next council meeting and not after.
Let me get my calendar.
22nd.
Let me get my
22nd. That'd be the 22nd, Mike.
So I know what we're talking about here.
22nd, correct.
Could we do it on the 26th?
No.
No, that's a council meeting.
Yeah.
That's a council meeting.
22nd.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Tim. I mean, Jason.
What about the 28th? You'd be pushing it one back.
Yes, I have no problem with the 28th. That would give us a little bit more than the 2 weeks.
No.
Who's saying no?
Chuck Donahue.
Does council have any problem with the 28th?
I would
other than Mr. Donahue. Mr. Donahue?
I was more in tune with the 22nd. We could see it the individual film, but I was more in tune with the 22nd. I would prefer.
I'm fine with the 22nd. I just, you know.
Okay. Thank you for the suggestion, Mr. Blake. I really appreciate that. Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we move the special council meeting from tomorrow night, April 13th at 6:30 to April 22nd, which is Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Barb, would you take a vote?
Just a second. All right. Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Cagliarini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn votes yes.
Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Thank you, Barbara. So the meeting is officially moved to the 22nd of April. Barb, you have to post that, get it back in the, make a meeting and get it on the scrolls. We have to post the same thing, just change the date to the 22nd of April from the 13th. That'll take care of that. We'll meet our obligations for the 72-hour rule and a special meeting. And that passes 7-0. And
6-0.
6 to 0, yes. I had a unanimous vote. I forgot about Councilwoman Shayla. Well, so it'll be 6-0, and if there are no other questions, I would entertain it. Yes, Chuck.
One question.
Go ahead.
It's always been curious to me that letters to council are sent to council. We read them, but yet we have to read them on floor. Why is that?
Some of the letters require being read on floor so that the public has the transparency.
But they're letters to
letters
council.
do.
But they're letters to council.
Well, it's
And
also
if the council members read it, why does it have to be read on floor?
if they pertain to issues that are critical at council vote, why we're voting the way we do, there are letters that have to be read on the floor. So not all of them, but there are some letters that have to be read just to clarify what's going on. Barb?
Yes, sir. That's my question. We received a letter from Pastor Nestler, and he requested to have it read. Now, do you wish to have it read or not?
I read that letter, and that does not pertain to any business that be conducted as council. There's a special meeting for that, and that shouldn't have to be read on the floor tonight.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
If there's no other questions or needed, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Caucus.
I make a motion that we adjourn. Caucus.
Second by Chuck. Motion by Mike Dudley. Barb, take a roll call.
Who seconded, please?
Chuck.
Chuck Donahue.
Chuck.
Joe. Thank you. Didn't catch that.
Dookie.
All right. Dudley?
Yes.
Donahue?
Yes.
Nanadovich?
Nanadovich votes yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Taglerini?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Vaughn, yes.
Okay. Let the record show that at 6:57 p.m. on April 12th, 2021, caucus meeting has been adjourned.